Insights here at the end of the week with a storm moving in at the 1 Degree Outside Weather Network. Meteorologist Matt Noyes got a couple of things to talk about in this video. We'll discuss the storm and the fact that it's got the rain, the wind, the thunder chance, and behind it, a quick drop back to freezing that'll cause some icing, and we'll look at that as well. Also in this video, we'll talk about how the cold pattern comes back, and we'll identify some windows for snow that show up in there as well. Before we dive into the meteorology, I want to give a big thanks and a sincere thanks to our 1 Degree Outside champions, Gate City Reflexology and Massage in Nashua, New Hampshire, and O'Brien's Garden Center in Danvers, Massachusetts. By the way, just heard from O'Brien's Garden Center, said we still have plenty of wreaths and trees. Come on down, decorate the house. So we always appreciate it if you keep our partners in mind. And same thing goes in the app. Some great holiday lights experiences. Tap right on the banners in the app, and you'll be able to get some great experiences there as well. Membership.onedegreeoutside.com for both individual and small business memberships. All right, here's what's going on for us now. Water vapor imagery, a great tracer in the atmosphere. It traces the water in its gaseous form. So basically, you can trace where the air's at, right? Moist air shows up in white and green. Drier air shows up with the yellows. Notice the spin coming across the Dakotas. In the atmosphere, when you see spin, that usually means energy, that they go hand in hand. It's the physics of the atmosphere, and we can plot that energy here in the reds and oranges that you see. There's our energetic center coming out of the northern plains, moving across the eastern United States, and really kind of starting to come together before it gets to us. That's why the storm center comes together to our west, which brings us mild air. This is a lot of energy that comes through on Friday, and that's why we have a chance of thunder that's in the forecast as well. This does go by, and we get ready for the next round of energy that comes in on Sunday, although that mostly would be snow showers in northern New England. But I guess the point out of that is, as the next one comes in, again, these bring warmth out ahead of them. So the cold that comes in behind this late week storm is not long lasting. The cold that comes in behind the next one lasts a little bit longer. You can see the wind field increasing across the board here, getting into Friday, coming all the way up the East Coast. This is a southerly wind, a warm wind. These gusts in yellow are going to be greater than 40, but you've got other gusts that show up that are greater than 60, and we'll take a closer look here at that in a second. And even behind the storm, when the cold air comes back in, it's still going to be windy Friday night. Not as windy, but it's going to be gusty anyway. Into Saturday morning, it should ease off a little bit by the time we get into Saturday afternoon. Let's show you maximum wind gusts, the way we see things here over the course of this storm, generally coming out of the south-southeast and then south. When you get a little south-southeast component, you can downslope over the Green Mountains, and that comes down on the western slopes of the Greens. You may be able to gust to 60. We also may be able to gust to 60 when you get down to the south coast. Most of us, gusts are going to be between about 40 and 50. You may be able to go 50 or a little higher right at the coastline, including southeastern Mass and the coast of Maine. As you can imagine, that does churn the seas. Friday afternoon waves between 8 and 16 feet, even near shore. As we get into the weekend, again, it stays breezy into Saturday, so the waves stay up, but not as much as they are for us Friday, and then they will continue to stay up with that wind increasing a bit on Sunday as well. So you get the idea. It's going to be a choppy period out on the water, to say the least. Temperature at 6,000 feet, when you get this kind of a deep southerly wind flow, it doesn't matter whether you're at a mountain summit or you're down low, you've got warm air. The freezing line, or the melting line, however you want to look at it, is in red. And even at 6,000 feet, that is way to our north. It's not only that way for the end of the week going into much of Friday, but then you do get this shot of below freezing air that not only comes in at 6,000 feet, it'll come in at the surface, and there's your cold for Saturday. But again, remember, I told you it relents going into Sunday, and you start to see already some milder stuff by then. So Friday's high temperatures, 55 to 60 for the vast majority of us. Again, given the amount of energy coming through in the atmosphere, there will be downpours. There will be some thunder that'll be embedded as well. Radar forecast over Friday at midday. Here are your downpours in place for most of us. Last to get into it, seeing showers for a while before it ramps up, would be eastern Maine and Cape Cod and the islands. You eventually get into it too. Here is the heaviest round of downpours Friday afternoon with the cold front just ahead of it. And behind it, you will snow pretty good for a little bit in the mountains of Vermont down and through the Berkshires. As that moves east, there may be a leftover Friday evening snow and rain shower mix that comes not only through the Worcester Hills, but even into eastern Mass. So the reason that's a problem is because you've already got high rain totals, and we'll look at that in a second. Then if you're going to put a fresh rain or snow shower just before, look at 10 p.m., just before you drop down below freezing. Now you've really primed the setup to get some black ice development, some freezing going on, and a lot of that moisture able to freeze. So road crews, you're going to need to be ready to treat. If you take care of parking lots, walkways, you're going to need to be ready to treat as we head into Friday late evening. The good news is once you put the treatment down, you should be good. There won't be anything fresh or new coming in. I mean, even during the course of the day Saturday, there really isn't much to write home about in terms of active weather. So most likely total amounts of precipitation, you're going to see why I say it's going to be hard, even with an active wind, to get all this to evaporate before we hit freezing, right? You've got between a half inch and an inch of rain that comes down in most spots, maybe some locally higher amounts when you get up, particularly in the mountains, and of course, if you got any thunderstorms. In terms of where and when the chance of thunder is going to be, I can set things into motion for you. And we're going to highlight in white where you've got at least isolated lightning potential. Interestingly, even Friday morning at 7:45 or so, there is the chance that you get an isolated lightning strike, but it definitely goes higher. Take a look here as we go into Friday midday and afternoon with the cold front coming in. That's your greatest chance of lightning. What stands out to me is it's not just held near the south coast. This is up through the Pioneer Valley. This is throughout southern New England. This, even to some extent, there's at least about a 10 to 20% chance you could get an isolated strike trying to get up into central New England. Coast of Maine's probably a less than 10% chance, but not completely impossible. And again, that's mostly on that Friday afternoon timeframe. I'm not done yet, but I just want to let you know, as you watch the rain come through and the thunder and lightning, you can track it with the radar tab of our app. All right, so when that colder air comes in Friday night, we end up bottoming out in the 20s. You've got that active breeze throughout the night, so a wind chill that'll be in the single digits and teens. And I mentioned you get that little puff of snow that comes behind a cold front Friday evening and night. And if you look to how much, the white would be 1 to 2. And if you line up the lighter blue, that's 2 to 4. Some of the summits, when you get around the greens, may end up with greater than 4 inches of snow. Notice also maybe a little coating with that scattered rain or snow shower we looked at coming through in the evening on Friday, just behind the cold front. Meanwhile, Saturday's high temperatures actually not terrible, right? You make a recovery into the 30s. And this is why I was saying the cold doesn't have staying power on the first go round. By Sunday, you're up into the 40s for a lot of us in southern New England. There will be some scattered snow showers during the afternoon and evening when you get across northern New England. On the jet stream level, you can kind of see why this is. This is the big disturbance that comes in, a big trough, a big dip in the jet stream. You've got the next disturbance coming in, and where's that jet stream pointed from? Coming out of the west-southwest, right? So this is going to drive those snow showers into northern New England later on Sunday, but it also helps to drive some milder air in our direction. We get out toward the next week, and you've got a trough that builds in, some cool air at the start of the week. Now notice the jet stream direction. Northwest to southeast. This is on Christmas Eve. Look, when this comes in, there probably will be some snow showers, but it may end up on the north side of the disturbance. So one thing we've been telling you about in pattern predictions is in this pattern, don't trust too much beyond about 3 days. And there are times, we do a 14-day forecast, right? There are times that I'll tell you, oh, you can trust timing on disturbances out to 10 days, but this is not one of those patterns. This pattern, you're really, and we subscribe to this ourselves. You can get the overall pattern. You can figure out the temperature regime. You can figure out if there are disturbances that are waiting kind of in the barrel to come through, but I wouldn't trust the exact timing. So the same can be said 25th into 26th. That's a time frame you heard us mentioning in pattern predictions. You've got another disturbance coming in, and you're still lined up to bring in more Pacific energy as well. So in other words, you've got multiple chances, and that will continue heading out into the new year. And by the way, if you're into winter sports and the talk of snow kind of excites you, check out snowsports.onedegreeoutside.com. Danielle and I put a lot of effort and love into this, and we hope you're going to absolutely love it. That's the way things look for now. Of course, we will keep you posted every step of the way with 1 Degree Outside. Make sure you grab that app if you don't have it yet.